Welcome to another edition of the Business and Personal Podcast, where we bring you closer to the people that you do business with. And today we have Angela Chryplewicz on with us, and she is a part owner of Lasting Impressions. It's an awesome family story and a woman-owned business story that I really wanted to share with you all today. So, first of all, how are you doing today, Angela? Thanks for taking the time.
Thank you. I'm doing really good. How are you?
Can't complain. I always love sharing good stories like yours, and you're fighting through this pandemic. You're still kicking and doing great things. So, just wanted to kind of share what you're up to. So, let's go back to 1976, and your dad started this business on his own, and it's grown to where we're at today. So, I know that's a long time frame from there till now, but kind of take our listeners through that timeline of how we got to where we are today.
Yes. So 1976, a few years ago, he started the business actually in his basement. He was recently out of college and he would sell some sporting equipment to his teammates. He played football at Olivet, and so he'd sell them socks and, just different things like that. And one thing led to another, and he started printing t-shirts, and he did that all out of the basement. So that led him to an ice arena where he was selling kind of sporting good equipment and started printing team shirts and apparel. And people eventually started asking if they could get items for their companies. And that fast forwards us to today, where we're primarily focused on corporate apparel, corporate swag, things like of that nature.
So, and you, with your sister and a friend, you purchased the business from him in 2017, correct?
Yes, we did. So we've all worked at the company for many years, obviously, being family and it being my father. Every day home sick was really not a day at home sick. It was down at the office and at work doing things. So I've personally been here for 16 years now. And my sister also has worked here for many years. The other gentleman who owns it with us is Jeff Nowaski, and he started working here right out of college. And similar to us, where he's been in the business, he, just really became to love the branding and everything that goes with it. So he has worked here for many years, and we purchased the business back in 2017.
So you have a business that survived that long. It seems like certainly a safe move to do that. Like, this business is only going to keep going upwards, and been through a lot of economic downturns from 1976 till now. So many different things that the business has survived through. But one thing you probably didn't plan for, didn't expect, and the business has ever seen is a pandemic. So obviously that hit last year. So just explain how you've adjusted from that.
Yeah. So like you said, being in business since 1976, we've obviously seen a lot. We went through a lot with the recession and, went from a company that had about 25 employees at the time, and we had to cut back to probably about 11 employees. And, we made it through that. Fast forward to 2020, and it was just a year, obviously, that nobody could have predicted in so many ways. So early in 2020, whenever you really started hearing rumblings of the pandemic and what was going to happen, we sort of started to get a little bit nervous because we're in the town center in Southfield, which is high-rise buildings. So, the office space is here. And we didn't know if one day we were going to come in and the doors would be shut and we wouldn't be able to get inside. So we actually transitioned our business to remote about 2 weeks before the state shut down. And we did that just so that we wouldn't be in a situation where we couldn't get to, our computers and our phone lines and all of that. So we had all of our technology, had everything set up about 2 weeks before the state shut down. So we kind of got ahead of the curve and didn't have to worry about the infrastructure and having our tech company get in here and, get us all transferred out to remote. Which ended up being a pretty big life savings at that time. So we did that just to sort of transition. And then the real big problem that everyone faced, business and orders and customers just sort of stopped coming in. And this business supports a lot of families. We had 50 employees at the time, and failure just is not an option. And we had to do whatever we had to do to make it work. And so we would get on a call every single day and say, what are people buying and how can we sell it to them? And every day we would do that. And so we with our normal business, we already import lots of items. We import apparel, we import hats, different pieces of swag. So we really leaned on our connections and our resources for importing, and we figured out how to import masks. And that sort of transitioned also into us bottling our own sanitizer. And it was USA made and then bottled in our facility, and we were able to distribute it. So the masks and the sanitizer really got us through COVID. I mean, every time we would answer the phone, it was someone else either canceling an order or an event. I mean, we all remember those days early in the pandemic where it was like, every sporting event was canceled, this building shut, just all of that stuff that we all went through. And so we're very event-based. We're driven by employee uniforms and all those things that just weren't happening. So we just transitioned to selling the masks and the sanitizer, and that really carried us through.
I love stories like that. So many business owners I've talked to, now that you've been able to pull yourself away from it the last year or so, it's like, hey, we survived that, made some changes and things that you can implement going forward too. I'm sure you kind of experience the same thing, right?
Oh my gosh, yes. It's one of those things as a business owner, it's hard because it really highlights everything you're doing wrong. When
Mhm.
you're in that high pressure situation where, like I said, failure was not an option. That's how we were raised. That's how we operate. We are not closing the doors because of this pandemic. So what do we need to do? And it highlighted every area of the business that we were, not putting attention on or letting slack. And, we'll get to that another time. Well, at that point, there is no other time. We have to do it now and we have to do it right. And there wasn't any leeway or any give room for it. So there were so many things that, efficiencies that we gained during that time just because we had to. And there are things that we definitely will take through going in the future. It's not like we lived through 2020 and that pandemic and did business a certain way and that's all forgotten now. There's definitely things that have changed and will continue to use in our day to day.
So let's talk a little bit about what lasting impressions does. So I'm sure our listeners or even myself have probably received some swag at an event or wherever from a business that was produced by lasting impressions at some point. So tell people some of the products that you make and what are some of the hotter items right now.
Yeah. So basically, I always laugh. I say we can put a logo on anything, literally anything from a barbecue grill to a pen or a mug. I mean, whatever it is that you want to put your logo or brand on, that's something that we can do. We specialize in customized items, anything that really will highlight your brand and the message you're trying to get across. Some of the hot items right now, technology is a huge category for us. We went, everybody's constantly, you're on your phone, you're on your computer or tablet. So anything that has to do with a technical piece of equipment, people love. They love, speakers and power banks and earbuds, just any of those sort of techie items. I would say that's the hottest and most popular category for us right now.
And there's never a bad place to get your logo or get your business exposed. Any exposure is good. What sort of conversations do you have with business owners about the importance of having these items out there to show off their brand?
Well, I always like to say, whatever that swag is that you give away, that's how people are going to remember your brand. And it doesn't necessarily need to be the most expensive item, but if you give something that isn't the best quality and maybe breaks, then people are going to remember that. So you want to put your name and your brand on something that you want to be associated with. And the way I like to think of it is if you're a super creative company, then let's pick something super creative and out of the box or something that we can get a really cool logo or imprint on with full color or maybe a different technique. It's super important to understand that whatever you are giving people, they are going to have that connection with, and then they're going to remember your brand by it. So if whatever that message is you're trying to get across, you want to carry it across in that item as well, whether it's a piece of apparel or, a writing instrument or a piece of drinkware, whatever it is, you want them to get it and use it and think of your brand and think of your company in a good way, in a positive light.
You got me thinking a little bit on the techie stuff for my own business. I should maybe look at some of that. But you know what? Old school pens and notebooks, the
Yep.
best thing ever, because people are constantly using those. No matter how much technology is out there, people will use pens and notebooks.
Yep.
And the excitement that they get when I go meet with potential clients to just get a pen and a notebook, they absolutely love it.
They love it. And it doesn't have to be tacky. I always laugh that one of the number one promotional items that will be kept around for many years is a beach towel. And if you think about it, you probably have a beach towel that you got at, a golf outing or some sort of event that you might maybe have had for 15 years. And you still have that beach towel, you still have that logo. And that's the number of impressions that someone's going to get whenever they have an item that you give them. Give them something that will last, something they'll actually use.
And I know you're based here in the Detroit area, but you have clients all over the place, right? How wide of an area do you serve?
Yep, we have clients all over the U.S. We obviously ship international. We have lots of our clients who maybe have factories overseas, or they do events all over the world. So really, there's no limit onto the area that we serve. We are based here in the Midwest, like you said, just out of Detroit. So a majority of our clients sort of started in this area, but we have customers all over the world.
And I know you're really proud to be certified through the Women's Business Enterprise, and more than half your employees are females. Talk about that, and if anybody goes on your website, they can see how much passion you have for that and what it means to you.
Yeah. We are super excited, very proud to be a certified woman-owned business. We went through the certification the year that we purchased the business, and we've held it ever since. And it's something that our clients are excited for, and we're excited to be able to give that to them. We do have a majority of our employees that are women, and that's something that we're really proud of as well.
And I've always wondered too, like when you're watching a big sporting event and you see these teams with championship shirts as soon as the game is over, like where the heck did they get those? You had such a cool story you shared with me before we recorded. Talk about what you've done in that regard.
Yeah, so this is one of the highlights of my career, as going through many years of all the orders and different projects that we worked on. This is one of those things that I'll just never forget. So you have to bear with me because sometimes not the best storyteller. But back when the Red Wings were on their winning streak with the Stanley Cup, we were hired to print the championship t-shirts. And we were super proud to be part of it. We, born and raised in the Detroit area, and our company located just in Melvindale, which is just outside of the city. And that's where our print shop is. So we spent many nights, getting everything prepared for it. We had all the different designs and the hologram stickers that go on the shirts and on the hats and everything. And so you can't just go ahead and start printing these shirts once you're commissioned to do it. You have to wait until the team is actually far enough in the championship to be able to do it. So we would fill the warehouse with everything we needed, from the packing supplies. We have all of our employees ready and waiting. We'd have the game on the loudspeaker, and every time the Wings would score a goal, everyone would just go crazy. And it was just such a cool moment and something to be part of. And we would get that call once they were far enough into the series that said, all right, you could start printing. And we'd start the presses and start printing those shirts. And it was a super cool experience. One of the years we actually had the news, the Detroit News was outside of our print shop, ready to get a picture of the shirt and all that. And it was a super cool experience, something that we were all really proud of.
Unfortunately, you haven't been busy printing Detroit championship shirts recently, but hopefully we're on the verge of turning that around here soon.
Yes, hopefully soon. We did do the uniforms for the Little Caesars Arena, so that's not exactly the same. And I know Detroiters are ready for that again, but it was cool to be part of that as well.
Hey, Pistons got a #1 pick here in a few days, so maybe we're turning things around.
Yep.
So, it sounds like you can get very creative, and you might even take suggestions from a business owner if they had said, hey, I don't see this on your website, but I would love to put a logo on this certain item. Would you be flexible like that if someone had ideas?
Oh, definitely. Yep. And I always like to tell people, our website's a small snip of what we offer. And on there, we have over 20,000 products, and there's still more that we can't even display. So we always, look for feedback, and everything we do is so custom. It's almost impossible to have it all, but we love to hear what people are into and something, if there's a brand that they love that we can start offering, we're definitely open to that.
Well, let's leave a lasting impression for our listeners and viewers here then. So tell them what's the easiest way to get in contact with you and what special offer you have for them.
So our website is liteam.com, and that's the best way to reach out and kind of look and see what products we have. You can always email me at angela@liteam.com. I love to hear from people personally, so please reach out if you have any questions or, comments and feedback. And today we wanted to offer everyone a 20% discount if they mention this podcast, either in an email to me or phone call, or on our website. If you place an order, you can use promo code IMPACT20 to get that 20% off.
Fantastic. Hey, 20% goes a long way
Yes,
nowadays. Every dollar counts. But so impressed with everything that you do, and it's cool. Everybody loves, like I said, everybody loves getting these trinkets, and they do leave a lasting impression. They are important. A part of every business should include this in their marketing budget, no doubt about it. So,
well, thank you. I appreciate your time today too, and talking with me. Thank you very much.
absolutely. Well, hey, maybe we'll have you on later after we get a Detroit championship, and you can show off some of your work.
I love that.
All right. Thanks, Angela.
Thank you.